All right, having glued that in, it's time to do some writing on it. And you can see we've made this long foldable thing, and we're gonna put a bunch of stuff on there. For our first bit, I'm just gonna be writing in black. I'll decide if I feel colorful as I go. Now, remember, we have this little line right here, and we did that on purpose to make this very organized over here. A time signature tells you two things about the piece that you're playing. It tells you how many beats are in a measure, and it tells you what kind of note is equal to one beat. And for right now, we're only going to work with time signatures that have a 4 on the bottom. So you have a square here and a square here. We're going to put a big 4 right here on the left on the bottom. So put a 4 there. The bottom number is telling you which kind of note gets one beat. If you recall, when we talked about note values, I explained to you that a quarter note equals one beat, and that's usually true. And for right now, we're not going to expand on that. And a quarter can also be written as 1/4. So when we see a 4 on the bottom, if you pretend like there's a 1 on top and you read it like a fraction, 1/4, you could also say 1/4, and that means a quarter note is equal to the beat. We're going to give ourselves a little definition. So right next to that, we're going to write which note equals one beat. Which, W-H-I-C-H, note, you know how to spell note by now, N-O-T-E, equals E-Q-U-A-L-S, 1, I'm putting the number 1, beat, B-E-A-T. We will go into more depth on that idea in another video, but for now, we're going to leave that alone. I was telling you that a time signature tells you two things. The next thing that it's going to tell you is how many beats are in every measure. When we talked about note values, I was only talking about measures that have 4 beats in them because that's the first time signature that most people encounter in their studies. So we're going to put a 4 in the box right over this other 4. And I bet if you look at a bunch of your songs that you're playing, you'll find there is a 4/4 in the beginning of that piece. So the 4 is beats per measure. So we're going to write that over here. And we're also going to write a little abbreviation for that because it's a very commonly used abbreviation. So beats, B-E-A-T-S, per, P-E-R, measure. I'm leaving a little space, remember, M-E-A-S-U-R-E. This is generally abbreviated BPM. So let's write BPM. Okay, so if you see a piece of music with this at the front, it means you have 4 beats per measure and the quarter note equals a beat. But what if you have a piece that doesn't have 4 beats in the measure? Let's fold this all the way over for a moment. I showed you another song in another video called Seesaw, and if you were looking very closely, you might have noticed that that had a 3/4 in the beginning. All right, let's put a 3 there. And then let's fold up your booklet in an interesting way. Instead of folding it like that, I'm going to fold it like so, and then again like so. And then you still have a little way of remembering what each of those things mean. 3 beats per measure, and a quarter note still equaling 1 beat. All right, let's add to our booklet, shall we? All right, open all the way up like this, and let's put a 2 right here. So many of the pieces that you will play have only 2 beats per measure. So how can we look at that? Like so. So if you see a time signature that looks like this, it's 2 beats per measure. A quarter note still equals 1 beat. Now I want to add something. Let's open it all the way up again. There are different ways of writing this time signature. There are two ways you might see it. Sometimes it's written just with a C. So we're going to add a little bit here that says 4444 is also written, and remember written has a W at the beginning, W-R-I-T-T-E-N, C, put a big C. I'll bet if you go back through your pieces, you might see a C at the beginning of some of them. It means that that piece has a time signature of 4/4, which means you have 4 beats in every measure. A quarter note equals a beat. That C stands for common time. So in this next little square, we're going to write that for ourselves. C stands for common, C-O-M-M-O-N, time, T-I-M-E. It is the most common time signature, meaning you're going to see it the most often. I am going to throw one little thing in here, and I'm not going to say a whole lot about it, but because there are two symbols that look so similar, I think it warrants talking about. If you see a C, but it has a slash through it, go ahead and write that down. If you see that, that stands for cut time. Let's write that in, and then I'll explain. Stands for cut, C-U-T, time. And that means that you play twice as fast. So if it looks like a slow song, but it has that, it's actually twice as fast. Twice as fast. And like I said, I'm not going to get deeply into that today. I'm only including it so that you don't get confused when you see a C versus a C with a slash through it. Let's play with our book for just a moment here. All right, you're playing a piece. That piece has a 4 and a 4. How many beats are in every measure? 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. What if you see something that has a 3? That's another one you're going to see a bunch. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What if you see one that has a 2? 1, 2, 1, 2. And then of course we have our other ways of writing 4/4 time and this other little one that you'll encounter from time to time. So there you go, you have your time signature booklet. Let's label it. So this thing at the beginning, I've used this term a bunch of times already. It's time, T-I-M-E. Signature, S-I-G-N-A-T-U-R-E. And since we have more than one, time signatures. So there you go. You have a little book that can help you play with your time signatures. You can impress your teacher by telling them that you know all about it. Happy practicing.